You're listening to Keeping It Real by Sean Gino.
This is a GinoCast production.
What's going on? Welcome to Keeping It Real with Sean Gino. I'm your host, the one and only Sean Gino. This episode of Keeping It Real is sponsored by Queen Bee Media. If you've already got a website, does it convert? Is it bringing you leads? Are you selling stuff from it? Do you have an automated workflow strategy for those leads once you get them from the website? If not, click over to Queen Bee Media at queenbeemedia.co and find out how they can help. This is episode number 6, My Spiritual Journey, Part 2. If you've not checked out Part 1, be sure to do that first. And also subscribe and follow so you don't miss any new episodes. Part 1 ended right when Lisa was becoming Catholic. We just got married, had our first child together, and are working on blending our families. Here it is, Part 2 of My Spiritual Journey. After her kids get baptized then, it's like, well, let's go to Catholic school. Let's get them enrolled in Catholic school. Let's get them involved in this great Catholic education. My mindset of all that finance, budget committee stuff, I've forgiven. I'm like, I have to forgive. And, they were right. I should have been paying. And that was my ego. And I need to let that shit go. And they're right. This Catholic education is important. And if I want this great Catholic education, it does come at some sort of cost. And what they're asking for isn't really too much. So I should have been tithing then, but by God, I'm going to tithe now. And I'm going to make amends now. And so, we enroll them in. Now my two boys, they're like, fuck that shit. They're like, man, I ain't going back to that fucking Catholic school again, man. Fuck that. Not only did it suck, humiliating as fuck, I am not going to church. Man, I'm doing fine right now. We're just going to Mass on Sundays. And, shit, I remember arguing with my wife, Lisa, about that shit, That's where the whole step parenting stuff, and it's like it gets real messy sometimes when everyone's not on the same page. But she of course was like they need to go. They all need to be going together, and it's not right that they are going to this other school and not getting this blah. But I was like, look. They're old enough to make the choice now. Fuck that. If they want to go to public schools, I'm letting them go to public school. My other kids, they all went to Catholic school. But at least now at this point, we're all in the faith, right? We're all doing the rituals together now, right? So, that's cool. At least, we can all experience in these rituals and things like that. And then in May, I know the date exactly because this date, it's kind of a reoccurring date for a couple things for me, but it's May 4th, 98. My wife and I decided to launch this streaming media business, streamingvoices.com. And at this time, we are both working for the same place. Same company. And, I start praying really, really hard. And I kind of start going back to daily mass again here. So I kind of used that once I was kind of into that job, that first daily mass experience stopped. And I did not keep going. But once again, I'm at a crucial point in my life that I need guidance, and I need to know that this next step that we're about to take is going to be fruitful for us, and it's a good decision, and it's the right thing to do for our family, and it's going to lead to great things, and all of our dreams and all of our heart's desires will be fulfilled. And so I start going to daily mass again, and my wife and I both quit our jobs. And we launched this company on our own with absolutely no money. I mean, it's not like motherfucker's been saving up some shit to start it or had any investors of any shape, form lined up. It's just like, fuck it. We got this idea. We're going to fucking go all in, and we're just going to, my wife's an awesome salesperson. Lisa's fucking awesome salesperson. So it was like, shit, we got Lisa. She could fucking sell anything, man. No problem. We got Lisa out there selling for us. And me and old Lee, we're hanging out, getting ready to be producers. So, my wife's going to go sell, and then me and Lee are going to produce it. And those were the original three of that. And I also start wearing a scapular at that time. So, I don't know if you know, but a scapular it's another piece of symbolism. I mean, it's kind of similar to the rosary in the fact that it is from no, it's not. It's got a piece of cloth on each end, and it's from this Mount Carmel thing, and if you wear it, you're supposed to be able to avoid purgatory, all that shit. So it's just symbolism, and I wore it every day. And I even I found my because for me it's like, well, it just wasn't good enough wearing just the scapular. I need to make my scapular just a little bit better than the average scapular, because I need even more blessings. And so what I did is, one of the things that I got from my grandpa when he died was his rosary. Because my grandma would tell me these stories about my grandpa and how faithful he was, and how he prayed the rosary every single night. He got down on his knees before he went to bed and prayed it every single night. And I just admired that so much that when he died, I wanted that rosary. And so I took that rosary and I was using it, and I was praying my prayers on it. Thinking of him and all of his prayers, and just all of these prayers that have been prayed on that. And, at some point in time, it just got so old that it kind of started to break. But I wanted to keep the crucifix of that rosary. And I wanted to keep that other little piece that kind of holds it together and sends the rosary down. It's that little middle kind of piece of it, that where the cross hangs flat from, it's where the round circle meets, and then it goes down, and then the cross hangs. That little emblem, I took that and sewed it, or I didn't, Lisa sewed it into my scapular for me. And then the crucifix I also sewed on the back side of my scapular. So one of them had, that one piece of the rosary. The other piece of that scapular had, my grandfather's crucifix from that rosary sewn into it. And then I wore it, and I would make sure that when I wore it, I had it fitted on me so that cross and that scapular would be like right over my heart. And, that's where I wanted to wear it. And when I didn't have it on, I fucking felt naked. I mean, I would be like, oh shit, where is it? Where's my oh shit, where's my scapular? And I'd be feeling around my neck, and I'd be looking all over. I'd be getting all nervous. Like, oh shit, it meant that much. And, like I say, man, everything really starts coming to fruition for us with this new company. And so I keep doing daily mass, and we keep growing. And one of the other partners that is in on this with us is Catholic. And so, me, my wife, and him we all go to Catholic mass for it. And, one day this client comes in, walks into our office. I mean, we had like this 3,000 square foot office in Old Town. It's like fucking awesome. Employees. And this client comes in and he's like, hey, I've got this annual Catholic family conference thing. And it's in its second year. And I was wondering if you'd be interested in helping us out. I was like, yeah, man, what you talking about? What you need help with? I mean, I'm very intrigued. I'm like, oh my gosh, absolutely. Catholic? Fuck, yes. And, they're like, we got this little video. We need some voiceover and stuff. And, I start talking to this guy, and he's a great guy, man. And, I really, really like him. And he starts telling me about this conference that he's trying to start up at this Century 2, the event center in Wichita. And I'm really, really digging it and liking what I'm hearing. And so I'm like, yeah, man, absolutely. We'd love to be a part of that. And, my wife and I take on chairperson roles for technology, and we're going to be in charge of all the tech for the whole conference. We're going to handle all of that technology for it. We'll do the website for it. We will dedicate ourselves to that. And man, we held that role for 12 years. And during the time, I absolutely loved it. It never felt like work. I never did it grudgingly. I never did it. I was never angry about it. I was never suffering through it. It was work, but man, I loved it. I just liked it. And so now all that's going great. We're really feel like we're doing all that we can, and things are really going to happen for us now with this company. But didn't really see what was coming. So now I know exactly how old I am. I was 33 years old. The company's struggling at this point. All the employees have left. We're down to just my wife and I. We're in this huge office that's now empty. Fucking hanging on to everything. Because, everyone else, no one was all in on it with their family. It was just, my wife and I. That was our only income. And it was tough because I feel it falling apart, and I am absolutely hanging on with everything I've got. We've got these 6 kids. I am stressed the fuck out, praying as much as, wondering why. I went to daily mass and everything. Why isn't this working for us? What the fuck? Angry, depressed, and fucking scared. I mean, scared of what are we going to do? Like, and my ego would not let that dream and that company go. It was hanging on to wanting that so much that my ego just would not say, dude, it's fucking over. And watching that slip away was really, really a fucking huge blow to me. Because I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I mean, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'd been acting like, this CEO guy in town, big baller, for a couple years now. Fuck. How am I going to go? Like, where am I even going to go work? And I'm taking all this out on my family at this point. Any things that fucking trigger at home. And it's fucking a shit show. And Lisa kicks me out. She's like, you need to get the fuck out of here. And so I had nowhere else to go because my fucking parents had moved. So they're not in town anymore. And I just went back to I just lived in the office. So we had a couple recording studios, and I just fucking got some blankets and shit, made a little fucking bed on the floor in there. We had a refrigerator, we had like some shit in that office that a motherfucker could, I had a microwave, so it wasn't a huge deal. Little bathroom across, out in the hallway, right across from the office. Motherfucker could go in there and had a sink and shit. So, I didn't have a car. She had the only, she can't be without a car. She got the kids and shit. So, I'm walking everywhere. I'm walking fucking to church, walking downtown. I just went to the church downtown, the cathedral, which, I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to go to the cathedral. At least it's the biggest and best church. Maybe, my prayers. When I want to see him, I walk home. It's not that far. It's a little walk. And on my way there, I'm praying the rosary. So, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, she's agreed to see me. I can go home, and so I'm gonna make the best of it. And so I wanna just make sure that I do all that I can on this walk over there, and I'm not an asshole when I get there, and I'm not stressed out, because at this point I'm still thinking that I guess I'm gonna save the company on my own at this point. Fuck, what? I don't know. She's done. Lisa's done. She's like, I'm out. You fucking want this shit? You fucking do it. I'm done. And so, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking I'm going to fucking do it all on my own. And so, I walk over there. I pray the rosary. I've got these little stops along the way where I'm like, okay, this is the crowning of the thorns. Oh, look, it's a statue, and it's got a crown on it, and I'm going to meditate on this. And then, another piece of on the way there, I walk through some trees, and, I'm like, oh, this is, him in the garden, and he's alone, and, I'm going to focus on this. So, I'm doing that on the way there. I get there, and then I do the same thing on the way back home. Because I'm like, well, fuck. I mean, if praying this rosary, did good things for me going there, it's got to do double good going back. So let me pray it again, Let me pray it. Let me pray it over and over. And, all of a sudden, Lisa gets a call from this really, really, really nice man at church. And he said, hey, I've seen you and your family at Mass. And the reverence that you display to the Eucharist and the reverence that I see you and your family show at church is like really impresses me. And I was wondering if, he obviously hadn't seen us lately to know what the fuck we'd been going through in the past few weeks. But he's like, I want to know if you guys would be Eucharistic ministers. And he was in charge of bringing the Eucharist, communion, if you're not familiar, to people in the non-Catholic hospital because in our non-Catholic hospital, in the Catholic hospital, you have nuns and things like that. Priests go up there and, they're giving people communion and things through the nuns that are involved in the Catholic church or the Catholic hospitals. But at the non-Catholic hospital, it's, at least in Wichita, I mean, I don't fucking know what it's like everywhere, but at least in Wichita, the lay, you have lay people, you have the regular parishioners that as part of their time, talent, and treasure, so it's, time, that you bring this Holy Eucharist to these sick people in the hospital. And he asked us if we would be interested in doing it on Saturdays. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. And both of us see it this way. Both Lisa and I are like, wow, look at his impression of us and look at where we really are today. We need to get our shit together and stop this fucking fighting bullshit. I think I finally was able to let it go, right? Him doing that humbled me so much that I'm like, why am I hanging on to this business and sacrificing my entire family as a result of it? And it really fucking snapped me out of it. And so what you have to do, though, is you have to take a class. And so, yeah, Lisa and I are like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I moved back home and, right before I moved back home. And so we're like, fuck it. Let's shut everything down. Let's empty out. Let's move out of this office. We can't afford it. Let's move everything back to our basement. And, just her and I will try and just do what we can to keep things going for as long as the bank will let us hang on to the equipment, right? Because everything's fucking tied to the business. All the equipment, everything is to all the computer, like fucking everything. It's all tied to loans and shit. And so that's what we do. Fucking move it back home. But man, I remember this. Before that night, before I left, I sent out one resume. I saw this job online and I was like, oh shit. Now that's kind of a cool job. Like, I would be interested in that. I'm like, let me just send out a resume. And I sent it out. I moved back home, thinking, okay, trying to grasp, where can I go work? Where am I going to get a job? Really coming in terms of my ego of I've got to humble myself and deal with the fact that I'm not some cool CEO of a .com in Wichita. It ain't going to happen. That dream is over. We go to a Eucharistic minister class. And we sign up as Eucharistic minister. And the class is held. Wichita has this really cool kind of place called the Spiritual Life Center. And in it, they teach people and do classes and have retreats and things like that there. And so this class is being taught there. And so we show up there on a Saturday morning and walk in, waiting for the priest to come in, because you're taught by a priest. And fucking walk in, and if it ain't the fucking priest that told me to shit or get off the pot, it's Father Sean. I'm like, I'm not really feeling this priest anyway from this whole really weird, you need to do this shit, you're not all this bullshit Catholic guilt fucking shit that he put on me when we first got married. Now look, I'm absolutely happy that we're married, don't get me wrong, but my ego is still a little fucking damaged by this dude because of what he fucking said. I didn't like it. And so I'm like, fuck, now I gotta deal with this guy here. But we do it, we do it, and the company does fall apart. And we file bankruptcy and lose everything. But that one resume I sent out, I got that job. And it's a cool fucking job too. It's at the WB. And so absolutely I'm going to keep doing daily mass now, right? I mean, shit. This place is downtown, so I can still go to my daily mass at the cathedral. I'm absolutely going to start, trying to figure out more about how I can increase my faith even more now. So daily mass isn't going to be enough because I was already doing that and we still lost the company. So there must be something more that I'm not doing. There must be more that if I pray harder, if I do more. And so I start looking into it's the Liturgy of the Hours. And it's basically what the priests use, like in their daily routine. They use this format. It's kind of complicated as fuck. But I'm like, oh, well, if I pray what the priests are praying, that's about as close as I can get, right? I mean, that's, I'm never going to be able to be a priest, but at least if I'm praying the same prayers that they're praying, maybe it will help me lead to better things. I'll be blessed more. My dreams will be fulfilled. All the while focusing on this work as my worth, right? Fuck what's happening to my kids during this time. I'm not focused on any of that shit. I'm focused on this job. What's it doing? How's it affecting me? How am I going to pay for this? All of this shit. So then also at this time, my brother decides to move to Kansas City. He's like, hey, I'm going to go work at a Catholic church. There's a priest that used to be here at our parish, and I'm going to go work for him. And so off he goes. Meanwhile, Lisa's, deciding at this point in time, as I'm looking, so like I said, okay, the daily mass wasn't enough. I need to look more into the Liturgy of the Hours, and I need to get deeper and deeper and deeper, as deep as I can into the Catholic faith, start praying like priests. Lisa, on the other hand, she's like, okay, Catholic isn't enough. We need all Christian stuff. So we are going to purge our home of anything evil. We are going to start labeling everything good or bad, good or evil. And if it's evil, it's not allowed in the home, and we're not going to do it. And that wasn't everything, but like it got really strict. And she got like really into like T.D. Jakes and Creflo Dollar and Joyce Meyer. Big Joyce Meyer follower. All her books. She did like go to women, like women's conference every year. She was into Joyce Meyer. And like I said, we start labeling shit. You know, you got to avoid evil shit. Don't listen to bad music. Only Christian music. Hey, look at this Christian stuff. Look at these Christian movies. No bad movies. I mean, you guys don't want to, hey, can we watch Harry Potter? Hell no. Can't watch Harry Potter. Fucking witchcraft evil shit ain't going on in our house. And look, man, I'm at this point, I'm fucking just happy to be in the house. Right? And so I'm going along with her. Fuck yeah. Yep. Happy wife, happy life type shit. So, I'm like, yeah, man, we're going to turn off all this evil shit. We are going to, you need to be listening to this cool Christian boy band. I mean, let's get rid of these evil action figures. I mean, like, our son, he needs Bible Man. And, he needs Bible Man action figures. Fucking Willie Ames shit. And, really resonating with these Kirk Cameron movies. And, just like super Christian family. And just switched it up on my kids, right? It's like, now not only are we going to be Catholic, we're going to be super Christians. And, I start, it was, and this is another date. So it's September 10th, 2001. And my wife gets me my own Liturgy of the Hours book, the book for priests. And I'm like, my God, this is great. I've got my own, because I was trying to do it like online and like looking at stuff on, I'm printing out stuff and trying to really get into it. But now I've got my own. And she writes in it, her caption, she says, Sean, may your walk with Christ bring you love, peace, and joy. I wish you heaven. With love, always, Lisa. Fucking beautiful, right? I mean, the number of times I've prayed that Liturgy of the Hours. And like I said, the date was September 10th, 2001. So you know what happens the next day. Right? But look, I'm equipped. The prayer warrior is fucking equipped. The very next day, I have that book with me. I've got the Liturgy of the Hours fucking with me as I fucking go into the TV station and I'm watching the fucking planes at the fucking Trade Center thinking, what kind of programming? I mean, I'm like, I know I'm the program director and I don't remember programming planes. It's supposed to be fucking infomercials at this time. What the fuck is on the air? But I'm strapped up with my book. And of course I'm like, oh, thank God it's a sign from God, right? He prepared me. He prepared me for this whole experience that I was going to have. And, I'm having a hard time figuring out, but I'm doing it. I'm doing as much as I can. It's got morning, noon, evening, night prayers. And, I'm stumbling my way through it. And, bringing it with me to daily mass and staying after daily mass, so yeah, now I've got to be the last one to leave too, right? I mean, once mass is over, I've got to stay there and then pray more after mass and make sure that, I've went through my litany of saints and Saint Thomas, pray for us. Saint Michael, pray for us. Saint Peter, pray for us. Saint Paul, pray for, going through my litany. And, I've got, I used to load it up with prayer cards inside, as bookmarkers in the book and feathers. When I find feathers, I've got this thing with feathers that if it's like a really cool feather, I like see it as like an angel and a sign from God, and I'd pick it up and I'd put it in my book, or I'd see it as a sign from my sister, or, something like that. And so, I got these feathers in this book, I got these prayer cards in this book, and, I'm going to daily mass, and we're on my lunch break then. So, when I'm at this TV station, I go to my lunch break, and mass is a half hour, and so it's like even 20 minutes sometimes. It's really kind of fast. And so then for the rest of the lunch break, I drive over to this little park. It's close to downtown. It's called Riverside. It's by the river. It's a nice little park, and I'd park there, and I'm going to start reading the Bible. I'm going to read this Bible from cover to cover, and I'm going to really, try to do all that I can to learn it and memorize it and learn scripture and be able to rattle off scripture like those other people can do. And I could never do that. I was never the guy that'd be like, oh, whatever, verse 2, here's the quote. I was never that guy. And so I felt lesser than because I couldn't. I'm like, well, they can do it. Why can't I? I need to be able to do that too. So I start reading the Bible. And this piece of shit van that I'm driving at the time only has AM radio in it. So I'm listening to Christian and the Catholic radio station on the AM channel as well. So, I'm listening to these preachers and just really and truly just wanting to do everything the right way so I don't fuck up again. I don't want to put my family through the pain of that again. But meanwhile, my whole family is like, what the fuck is going on? Like my kids. They're like, how y'all go from rolling around in this big ass brand new Excursion, blaring Ice Cube, talking about y'all gonna be rich, all this shit. And, now if we're listening to that same type music, we're possessed by a demon and we need to be prayed over. And, I'm just causing them more emotional fucking damage, thinking that, oh my God, this is going to help them. All this prayer, all this stuff is going to be great. I'm going to save their souls from this evil shit that's out there. When my kids fuck up, well, you're going to write sentences of scripture over and over. Get out your pen and pencil and write out these scriptures. Here it is. 100 times, 50 times, what the fuck ever. Oh, you need to pray the rosary. You better sit here and pray this rosary. You're going to go to mass more. You might even have to go to 2 masses now. You may have to go back to back. I mean, just all this shit, man. Oh my gosh. We're going to pray over you with this blood of Jesus prayer at our prayer meeting. We're all going to gather around you in a circle, and we're going to pray this blood of Jesus prayer over you to heal your soul because you're so evil from this. Who fuck knows? And so, meanwhile, I've got this, seen both sides, like I say, of this schooling, right? And so these girls are going to the school. And like I say, man, I think private school kids are the most self-centered, egotistical, bigger drinkers, access to more expensive drugs, love to kill the soul of anyone different than them, than anything I've fucking experienced in public school. So they're feeling some of that, And then Lisa gets pregnant again. And this time with her pregnancy, she has a stroke and she goes blind for 3 days. Now, that's definitely another episode. But still going to daily mass. And we're going through this journey of her being blind for these 3 days. And it was in the Catholic hospital, and I remember this rosary that she had that we would pray, her and I. And so I'd go up there and I would read her stories from the Bible that had to do with getting your eyesight back shit, right? You know, and I was like reading her the story about Saul and Paul and on his way to Damascus to go kill some Christians and shit, and struck by lightning, you know, fucking scales on his eyes, blind for 3 days and shit. And she's like, maybe that's happening to me. I'm like, don't fucking count on it. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't count on that shit. Which has always been part of my problem, is with this, for me anyway, the negativity and dark side and focusing on all of this death and never good enough, shame, guilt. It led me to have an attitude of, we're never going to get anything good. You know, we're always going to suffer. I wouldn't count on that. You're not special, you know. But sure enough, it sure did happen that way. I mean, on that third day, fucking just miraculously, she gets her eyesight back. Doctors astounded, of course. What the fuck? You know, what do you mean you can see? The day before that, they're telling us we're going to go home the next day. We're sitting in the fucking hospital, and they're like, hey, okay, so look, guys, I guess we're going to go ahead and release you, Lisa. We're going to let you go tomorrow. She can't see a fucking thing. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, well, do motherfuckers get a cane or anything? I mean, goddamn. I mean, do we get any sort of training? I mean, what? You're just like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? You know? I remember that night I went home, I'm like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck am I going to do? My wife's blind. I've got this brand new baby. Holy shit. But like I say, man, that next day, she's like, I can see. And man, I'd never experienced so much joy. I mean, I was so happy and so thankful. And then like right at this time, like I said, I'm working at the WB, and they get this wrapped slug bug with seventh heaven on it. And, you know, she's our seventh kid. And, you know, I'm doing this marketing, and I get to drive it, and I'm seeing like as all this sign is like, everything's going to be okay, you know, and all of that. And then, you know, even a couple years later, she gets pregnant again. You know, it's like, if the fucking trauma wasn't enough of maybe going blind, you know, after the fucking and getting pregnant, it's like, well, maybe this one will be different. Thank God it was. Because this pregnancy was absolutely perfect. And this little baby girl had no issues at all. And so absolutely I'm still going to daily mass during all this, because, you know, it's still daily mass, daily mass, daily mass. I don't want to let that go again. Because we're kind of thinking about, I'm at a point at the TV station that, man, I've kind of like reached a cap. like I'm at a certain level that I can't go any higher in what I'm doing. And so my wife and I start thinking about doing our own business again. And this time doing some websites with it and not raising money and not having employees. And just really, if we can both work from home and make enough money to support our family, that's all we need. Giving up the idea of being rich and famous and .com fucking billionaires bullshit. Just want to be able to be home with these kids so that I'm home every day with them, because I felt that I missed so much time with that first group of kids because of the focus that we were putting on this first business, that I didn't want to put this next set of kids through that same thing, and I wanted to just be there for them. And so that's definitely what we were able to do, because Lisa gets a meeting with our first potential client. And amazingly enough, it is the Spiritual Life Center. The place where, not only this, the name alone says what it is. We had this is where we were able to regroup and be Eucharistic ministers at this, other crossroads in our life. And we met up at the Spiritual Life Center and good things came from it. So here we are again. We got a meeting at the Spiritual Life Center. And I remember we're sitting in the car before the meeting, and we're praying about it and just kind of offering all up to God, that it's all in your hands. And we go in and fucking knock it out of the park. Fuck. Yeah, we walk out and we're like, oh, fuck, man, we're going to get it. Like, they're going to do it, And I'd never built a website before. I'd never built a fucking website in my life. But we just fucking sold one. I had like updated websites, but a full-fledged on my own. Did a little bit of it when I was at the TV station. Was played with it a lot in there. But they then went to, one of those national deals. And so I didn't really have a whole lot of experience with a website, but I'm about to. And that felt like another sign from God. That felt like a sign from God that, okay, do it. You're going to quit your jobs and go do it. And we went all in. Because my wife wasn't working anywhere at that time. I was able to be at the TV station and, she gets bored. Lisa gets bored. So that's kind of how that started. But I'm glad that it did, because once again, on May 3rd, I quit. And then on May 4th, we started the multimedia room. And, it's the same date that we started the first company. Not in any, once again, not planned, not, I'm going to wait and do it on this day type shit. It's just random shit that I didn't even notice until like 6 months after, when like you're like thinking about shit, and it's like, oh, goddamn, that date's weird. And it's like, holy shit, that's the same date. And I named, the multimedia room for me, the naming of it was a lot of it with the upper room, where the disciples met after Jesus was crucified. I thought that was such a, I don't know, cool place to be, in this upper room with these disciples hiding out, talking about Jesus and all this, and so that's what I named it after. And then after launching the Spiritual Life Center's website, that rolled into the entire Catholic diocese becoming a customer now and a client, and helping them with their website, and helping them manage it and do updates and build additional pages. I didn't have to build a brand new website for it, but they had one being built, and I helped them launch it and get all that stuff set up. And the bishop coming to our home, doing, multimedia recordings for parishioners, and us burning CDs and labeling them, and then bringing them to the diocese, and the diocese sending them all out to every parish in the diocese, and then it playing on a Sunday, and sitting there in church thinking, shit, man, this is the bishop, man, and he's, sending this message, and fuck, man, I made that CD, and he recorded this shit in our house, and, did that a few times. And so, of course, I'm like, this is amazing. We are really, really doing all that we can with this church stuff. And our church needed a new website, even. So it's like, not only are we getting the Spiritual Life Center, we got the diocese, we got our parish, this priest that is at our parish at the time. It's fucking awesome. I mean, he's now a bishop in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he was great. And, we build this website out, and we're doing all of this. And right in the middle of all of this is when I find out that my brother has been abused by this priest that he went to work for. And I watched my dad. My dad was done with the church, like, when that happened. Like I said, my mom had been done. But at that point, my dad was definitely done. And it all starts to get like, that felt like that time that I taught right there that I just talked about before this abuse shit came out. It felt like that was like the peak of my Catholicism. I was truly doing everything that I thought that I could. Going to daily mass, praying these liturgy of the hours, having these Catholic customers, feeling honored because, okay, it's this week, it's Holy Week, and they have a mass on Thursdays, and they invite, parishioners that are doing really good and, really good stewards to the church, come up, and it's an honor to have like your feet washed by the priest. And, I'm lecturing at church, and I'm really doing all that I can, and I get my feet washed, and I'm just thinking, my God, this is great. And then this abuse shit with my brother. And then that pastor that I really liked, he leaves. He's being promoted. So he leaves for Colorado on his way to become a full bishop. And we get a new priest assigned to our church. And guess who the new priest that's being assigned to our church is? The priest that told me to shit or get off the pot. The priest that I didn't like as he trained us to be Eucharistic minister. And now he's the pastor of our church. And I'm like, wow, I am such a good Catholic now. He's going to really be impressed with me. My attitudes have changed about him. And instead of being angry with him and letting my ego be butthurt over all the fucking shit that he had said that one time, I'm going to make a really good impression because I have made great strides in, managing this website. Like we're doing all this shit for the church and the diocese, and he's going to be impressed with me. He's going to be impressed. Father Sean's going to be impressed with Sean Gino. Nope. I don't know what it is with me and him, but motherfuckers never, ever resonated. Because my first fucking interaction with him, he comes off real standoffish, real elitist attitude, super educated, indoctrinated, educated. And, I can feel that shit immediately. I'm expecting to be at least like somewhat impressed, like, wow, man, I'm really impressed with what you've done from the last time I saw you type shit. And no, man. We always sat in the front of church. Sometimes, a lot of times the front row. I don't know why. It was part of it was it's right by the door, and when you got kids and the cry room was right outside that door, it was really easy to kind of just duck out type shit and not make a bunch of fucking commotion. Moving through people. Oh, excuse me, you got your baby crying, and then you're fucking walking up the whole aisle to get to the door. I mean, we always had a fucking kid with us, and it's something my mom taught me, to be honest. She's like, sit here. This is the best spot. Kid cries. Boom, you're right out the door. The cry room's right around the corner. So we sat in the front a lot. One day during Mass, my son passes out. He's like standing there, and like next thing I know, he's like, fuck, he like falls out. And it's wooden pews and shit, and he's like, I'm like, what the fuck is he okay? And of course my whole family is like looking over at him. The people in front of us, the people behind us. I know we're not in the front row this day. We're like 4 rows back or some shit. I got people in front of us looking, people behind us looking, people across the aisle looking, and that bugged fucking Father Sean. He gets bugged about the fucking distraction that fucking is occurring, during his little fucking spiel of what the fuck ever. And instead of being like, oh my God, are you guys okay? Is everything all right? I don't remember exactly what the fuck he said, but it damn sure wasn't, is everything okay? It was more along the lines of, are you guys done with that disruption yet? Like, I mean, hello. Around the same time, the fucking school calls me up one day. And they're like, you need to come in. We need to have a meeting with the priest and the principal about your son. This is my one son that is in the Catholic Church. Remember, I got 2 out. Said, fuck it. This youngest son of mine got put through it. And this motherfucker has never liked it. Never liked school, to be honest with you. But they call me up. And they're like, you need to come in because your son's drawing penises. And they're super fucking offended. And of course, who do I have to go sit in front of? Not only the principal, but, the ultimate judge, Father Sean. And of course I'm fucking embarrassed. Of course I'm fucking shameful. Fucking embarrassed that he's drawing fucking penises and shit and, showing this fucking girl next to him. And, it ain't the fucking first time. And it wasn't the last time. And, but you know what? That son that drew those fucking penises is an amazing fucking artist. And that fucking school, his entire time there, stifled his fucking creativity, and he still suffers traumatic shit. Especially being bullied. Because once again, if you're not the coolest and the smartest or the jock or the cool guy and all this shit, you're a fucking weirdo. And, but at that time, I don't know that. I'm fucking embarrassed, so I rip his ass, punish his ass. The bullying, the stifling creativity, the uniforms, just all of that. It just sucks when it comes to inclusion and shit, because it's these little cliques and groups, and if you ain't one of them, like I say, you're out. And then at this point in time in our, and as far as the whole family is concerned, we are the only ones going to church. All right, we got one more episode to go in this series. Subscribe and follow to get updated when it's live. Thanks for listening, y'all. It means a lot. Till next time, peace out.